Well, let's move on now. Jide Ogunsanwo joins us this morning. He's our data analyst. Thank you for coming on today.
Good morning. What's your prediction of today's game?
My prediction is that I'm going to sit now and watch it from start to the end. So,
4 p.m.
whichever way, yes, I have to be there. So I'll watch it differently, perhaps. But then, let's look at this football. It's everybody is expecting a good, perhaps, a good performance first. Then we'll take it from there. But what possible stats can we ever dig up to say, is there anyone that favors us from what you've looked into?
Some favor us, some don't. Let's look at the one question Nigerians ask: can we win the World Cup? So we now need to focus on what had happened exactly 6 decades ago, while they were playing their 6th game at their 6th World Cup. Brazil lifted their first World Cup. So this is our 6th attempt. So we shouldn't think that it is not possible. We shouldn't think it's not possible. But before we even talk about that, let's look at one thing that divides politicians. It is the budget. One thing that unites politicians, it's football, Gimba. So last week we saw the president placing the call to the captain. That unites the team. But the lesson for us is, yes, it is important to speak to the Eagles to inspire them, and that was a good move. But it's even more important for the commander-in-chief to be the commander of all call centers. So we need to also, and he also needs to speak to victims in places that they've lost families. So while he speaks to the Eagles, he also needs to speak to the victims that have been attacked by various security problems. As well, we saw another politician, the former vice president, bringing up his own expectations of how the Super Eagles can win the World Cup. He called it tiki-taka. And I think that's one of the highlights for me of this World Cup. A chart that shows us potentially coming out from the group as the runner-up, meeting Portugal at the round of 16, beating France, and then moving over to meet Portugal in the quarterfinals, then beating Portugal, then likely we'll meet Brazil. And then if we do overcome Brazil, we then will win Germany. So in simple terms, the World Cup is just 7 games away. Anybody that wins 7 games wins the World Cup. So I find that interesting, but more than...
Is that realistic though?
It inspires hope. It inspires hope. Like we said, Brazil won the World Cup at their 6th attempt. This is our own 6th attempt. So I think what he had tried to do with tiki-taka was to show a plan of how we can reach the final. But more importantly as well, Nigerians don't just want to see the football plan. We want to see a jobs plan. We want to see an economic blueprint. So while the president is calling, that is good. There are several other people that are expecting the president's call. There are several other people that are expecting to see more detailed analysis on blueprint. So we've seen 2 good moves. But now here's the question, Jimberlin. Is it possible for Nigeria to beat Iceland? That is what is on the lips of Nigerians. If we look at the stats, we'll clearly see that the first problem we have is we've got an African problem. We think Africans know how to play football, but the stats don't show that. Cameroon has played more games in the World Cup than any other African country. Played 23 games, Gimba. How many have they won? Only 4. They've won only 17% of their games. Nigeria follows Cameroon as the second country that's played the most games at the World Cup. We played 19 games in Yota. We've won only 5. The probability of we winning at any time we play in the World Cup game, 26%.
So we'll have a better percentage than Cameroon?
Yes, we have again 26%, 17%. It clearly shows we are not winning games. Let's look at Morocco, the 3rd country that's played the most number of games. 15 games, won only 2. And so in simple terms, there's a conspiracy that says the reason why Africa was brought into the World Cup was to make it easier for the Europeans and the South Americans to reach the finals. Because if you want to qualify based on the stats we have, play an African country. The best performance we have in Africa is Senegal. But again, that's because they played only 6 games and they've won 3. The more games African countries play, the more they lose. Ghana played 12, won only 4. Ivory Coast played 9, won only 3. So first is we've got an African problem. So the question is, will the African problem play out in today's match against Iceland? That's the first. The second is to understand what is really going on in Nigeria and the Super Eagles. And the stats reveal a lot. The first is the stats show that we are having strikers, or we have strikers that are losing stamina. What do I mean by we are losing stamina? In all the World Cups we've played, we've scored 20 goals. In reality, the Super Eagles have scored 19. 20 because we had that own goal that Zubi Zareta scored. If we critically examine the 19 goals we've scored, here's what you find, Chamberlain. In the first 30 minutes, we've scored 11 goals. Then in minutes 30 to 60, only 4 goals. And then in minutes 60 to 90 plus extra time, only 4 goals. So majority of our goals happen in the first 30 minutes, 11 goals. So you realize that after 30 minutes, our strikers are tired. So we've got only 30-minute strikers. We don't have 90-minute strikers. That is the first evidence we have. The second evidence is our strikers...
we need to go to break, but we'll come back in a minute and take a look at the rest of the stats in a moment. Don't go away. Okay, so we're talking about the attackers now, how Nigeria seems to have scored 11 goals in the first 30 minutes.
First 30 minutes, and then only 4 goals between minute 30 and 60, and again only 4 goals between minute 60 to the end of the game. So most of our goals come within the first 30 minutes, and then our strikers find it hard to keep up that speed. One other thing we need to look at is how determined are our strikers. Remember in the first 2 World Cups, 1994, Amokachi scored a goal in the 90th minute. 1998, we weren't seeing any late goals again. The latest goal was Sunday Ulises' goal against Spain, that banger, and that was in the 79th minute. Now let's look at our last 2 World Cups. We can see a decline. Ayegbeni's goal happened in the 69th minute. Ahmed Musa's goal happened in the 47th minute. In simple terms, the latest time we've scored a goal keeps declining. The latest goal we scored in the last World Cup was in the 47th minute. So we can see 2 things. The first is our strikers are losing stamina. And the second is we see a determination. Those are what the statistics reveal. Then what about our defense? Again, the stats reveal we start losing concentration towards the end of the game. We've considered 28 goals in the World Cup. But more than 28 goals, let's look at how these goals have been distributed. First 30 minutes, in all our World Cups, 8 goals. Between minute 30 to 60, 9 goals. We concede most of our goals between minutes 60 to 90, 11 goals. So for the coach, he needs to understand 2 things. The first is we need to ensure that our strikers regain stamina.
Yeah, the second is, said the boys are fit.
Oh, the boys are fit, but the boys need to really tell themselves and show Nigerians they are fit by scoring goals around the clock, not just burning out in the first 30 minutes. The defenders need to ensure that they keep their concentration, not conceding most of their goals between minutes 60 to 90, because that is when we lose the most. But again, is there hope about today's game? Yes, there is, especially if you believe in stars. Because on this same date, 22nd of June in 2006, an African country, Ghana, played US. They won. In 2010, we played Korea. It was a draw. In the same 2010, 22nd of June, South Africa played France. They won 2-1. And in 2014, last World Cup, Algeria played Korea. They also won 4-2. So if we look at the stars and we look at the dates of the World Cup in Yota, it is possible that we win today. However, if we look at our winning rate, winning only 5 out of 19 games, then it doesn't look favorable. So Chamberlain, which will you pick? Will you look at the stars or should we look at our performance?
I hope the Iceland coach is not watching this, this analysis. So that the last 10 minutes, they don't go and pump us. All right, Jide, thank you for coming on this morning. Jide is a data analyst, and that's the show today as well. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. hopefully we'll have a good match.
I'll see
I-
you.
Sorry.
I will
I'm
be seeing
positive.
you tomorrow.
No, he will be seeing tomorrow. I will be seeing. We will be seeing them on Monday. We'll be back on Monday.
They'll be seeing me much later than today.
Oh,
But
okay.
I'm positive about the Super Eagles going out today to execute. They have our full support.
Oh, yeah.
And way to go.
They always
Let's
will.
do this again.
All right.
I'm Gimba Omar.
Let's go, Super Eagles.
That's right. The only stamina that cannot run out is our belief in the Super Eagles. I wish everybody a great weekend. I am Ajuri Ngilali.